So we looked at data and how to maintain the data and how actually it stores in the databases, all that stuff. And now then we looked at processing. This is of again, it's a SSIS part, the integration part. This is SQL. And now we are at the stage of presentation. This is SSRS. Okay, are we clear what actually the flow contains in the real time? So this is the basic flow that we deal with in a real time. Okay, what are actually inputs and outputs of this particular each and every step? So this data for this databases, like a data part, can say for now, the input will be a raw data from any of the users that is being giving their inputs. Or if you go with transactional data, whatever the input you're getting on behalf of like any transaction, mode of transaction, what is the transaction amount, and how it is going through, all that stuff, it's a data. And that data we processed and we, so here the input for this data is that raw data from the user, and output of this is like structured database which contains all the data. So while processing, we deal with all the structured data from any of the structured database management system using SQL, and we process that. We do lots of transformations, or we convert our data uh, into many other forms or however we want, and we store that into any other database again. So here for processing, input is also from the database, output is also to the database. So when we keep our output to the database, if it is like if it is in the large scale, we call it data warehouses. Okay, any of that is possible here for processing. If it is in the greater large scales, that to be called as data warehouses. So till here we are done. And after we process our all the data and kept in any of the servers or any of the warehouses, we take that data and present to the user in the form of like reports. We present that data in the form of reports. So that report again contains like several other types as well. So those we'll be discussing in the following sessions. So how we actually create a report and what are actually the types of reports available. So all that we'll be seeing. So we have like plenty of reports types actually. So on the like few of them being Tablix report and matrix report, you can say charts, you can say. Tablix is that just that tabular form. Matrix in the sense like it will come up with matrix architecture. We'll be discussing that. Charts in the sense that will be pretty much user friendly. So you'll be having bar charts, pie charts. So bar charts in the sense you will be dealing with mostly with all of them are with numbers only, but the way we present is differs. So and after that we would be discussing about sub reports and what are drill through and drill down reports. These two are like pretty much very well used in the real time. So on selection of one value, what should happen, or like how the report grouping has to be done. Those will be covered in all of this. So for now, today, we'll go with an overview of report, how we actually create and how to like what are the components of the SSRS project and all stuff. So you can see the screen, the Visual Studio screen. I guess you can. Okay, in that. So how to create a SSRS project? Till that, from that point, we will be walking through now. So the first step, it's about like whatever you want to do with your project options. That will be available. All of them will be available in the file option. Whether you want to like open new one or add existing ones or whatever it is. So open new and then project. So this window gives you with lots of available topics or available types of applications that are that you can use. So a few of them we discussed: console application, VB, C Sharp, ASP.NET. These are almost like few of the web applications and the desktop applications, and few of them are service based. But we want now reporting application. So here you can see if you type down the report in the search bar, you will find this project, report server project. Okay, what it says, create an empty report server project. So this is what we want now. This is how we create a new SSRS project. So for that, you'll be taken with project to what your project to be named. That I want to see first report project. Okay, that would be a better one. And the path. So here I want to go with my previous existing path, which is, let me drop it on. Here. So this is my existing path, which I used for the SSIS part as well. So I'll be using the same one. And the solution name. So your solution name can be different from the project name, or it can be same as the project name. It's up to you. So whatever the name you can give it here. So first report solution, that I'm gonna give it. So what it says, it is going to create a solution with a name called a first report solution, and with the project first report project. So let's say create. Still loading. Here you can see there's a small notification which actually says create project has been completed successfully, and you can see this now in the solution explorer. You will see all these tools or all these folders actually. So we have shared data source and shared data sets and reports. So coming for data sources and data sets, we have like data sources. We have pretty much two types of data sources. One being shared data source and another one being embedded data sources. data sources or sets. So that we will be discussing in tomorrow's session in detail about them. So those are the first basic steps to get our report properly. So for now, let's go through what are the things. So in your project, see here the first solution name I've given first report solution, and the project name is first report project. Okay, in this, whatever reports you will be creating, those will be under this reports folder. The same way, whatever data sources that you create on, those will be under shared data source folder, and the data sets that you will be creating for holding to hold your data for the reports, that will be kept under shared data sets. So we'll try creating a new report. That is how this one, add new item. You can also go with add new report. Both are the same ones. So I don't want this report visual to come up. So for that, I'll be going with this option. Here I say the report. And suggest any name of the report. Let me take test report. So if you notice, the report extension will be RDL. So whenever you see any file with the extension RDL, there you come to know that it's a report file. Okay, same way, this test report.rdl. So here we go. So we now have reports, that is test report available for us, that is in here. Okay. And here, this is the design mode, and this is the preview mode that is available. This preview mode is nothing but whatever we designed in this particular window, the design window, that can be seen or like can be used for testing in preview mode. So how it actually presents itself in a servers or in a proper report being deployed or whatever, however it is. So that can be seen in this preview window. And in the design window, we will be looking at the way we create a new reports that will fall under here. And here what we have. So we have like lots of built-in fields available for us for corresponding to this particular report, test report.odl. Those are these. These will be like quite a few used ones. The execution time is for logging your how much time your report taken to execute and present itself. The language, overall page numbers, pages, all these are like built-in fields that are available for us. We'll be seeing them in detail. And the parameters. So parameters is the one, whenever you called a store procedure, you might have called with a statement called exec command, followed by procedure name, and followed by few of the input parameters being passed. So you might have seen that. Let's say for an example, let's take some dummy exec followed by my procedure name. Let's say add number, add numbers followed by two integer parameters 12, 13. In this, I say execute a procedure named with add numbers, and it takes 12 and 13 as a parameters, and it gives a proper output as like whatever the defined procedure we. So in the same way, these are called input parameters for a stored procedure. And how you will take, you might have noticed in any of your job applications when you fill out any of your, the state column while filling your address, the district will be automatically changed to that particular state's district. So to make it clear, you might have seen in your job application with state and district fields. So this state will have like all the states within India. And whenever you select any one of the state, let's say, for example, Karnataka or AP or Tamil Nadu or whatever it is. So on each and every selection of this particular state, the district values are going to change accordingly. If you select K, which is Karnataka, the district will be Bangalore, Karnataka, Hubli, and so on. And if you select AP, the districts, the drop-down districts will change its values to Anantapur, Chittor, Karnataka, Kadapa, however it is like that. So this is the one parameter. State is one parameter being passed to district. Based on the state, the contents of the districts are changing. Same way, if you have some report that to be changed on the past value parameters, let's say we have quite a lot of database tables, I guess. But it be and let's see the tables. For example, output address one. See here, there are like plenty of cities available for me. I would like to get the distinct of city. This gives me all the city names that are available in my table. So these are the cities that are available in my OP address one table. So what if I want to get the all the addresses only from Kingsport? So that way you are going to pass a parameter from this report to the database. How we do that? That is a whole new concept of parameters. So we'll create a new parameter. Here, how we do that? What is the name of the parameter? Let's say city, and prompt will be. So here there are two columns for every other control that you create. The one is the name and another one is prompt. Prompt is the one that is displayed in the report part. So name is the one that is given for a particular parameter. Whenever you are accessing that particular parameter programmatically, you will be accessing with the column, name called city only. So whatever the city prompt available for us, that is just the display purpose. So now you got the basic idea of what is the name and prompt. So name will be used to give the control a name. Prompt will be for display purpose. And how so this is pretty much about this screen. And what is the data type that it holds that you can give it here, and the boolean whatever stuff. And the formats of data. Hello blank value will actually takes nulls also into this I mean the empty strings into this parameter drop downs, and allow null values will be of to make our parameter takes null value as well, and allow multiple values in the sense we'll be getting multiple selections in the parameter. And this is the parameter visibility. This you can see the visible part will be whenever you are in the report, you want some of the controls to be hidden for some of the time until you select this new one. So that time we will be using these three parameters: visible, hidden, and internal. And coming for the available values, see here you will be giving specific values for this parameter being created on. So for now, I would like to get give some hard-coded values. For this, I will be using specify values. If I want to get the data directly from the database, that time I will be using this get values from a query. This will actually take all the data from directly from the database tables. So this will be discussing this specify values will be pretty much hard-coded values. Okay. So I would like to create few values. So the label will be the displaying value. Let's say what we can param label 1, and let's take the value 1 here. And let's go with another one, param label 2, which is again of value 2. And you can specify the default values in here. So that is again, if you can get from the specific values or get from the database queries or no default value, that is up to you. And the advanced section, it is just the basic settings in here. So when to refresh your parameter, on what event you will be doing that will be here. We will be defining that with these three options: never refresh, or always refresh, or automatically determine when to refresh. And after all this, just click on OK, and you'll notice it is being created. The values of it that you can see in the preview. See here, city name, we got it. And the values are param label 1, param label 2. So these are the two labels. Let's name them accordingly. Let us change the values. City name Ananta. So here I've given Anantapur and Bangalore as my cities, and just the values are 1 and 2. Click on OK. Here again in preview, now you can see Anantapur and Bangalore. So whenever you're creating a parameter, you just go on right click of this parameter and add new parameter, and followed by like what is the parameter name and what is the prompt name. Prompt name is the one which we can see in here, city name, same name, and available values. You can give values from your like hard-coded values or get from the query directly. And the default values will be how to like how you configure default values and advanced configuration. That's up to you. And just click on OK. That will create you with one of the parameter. Okay, this is about the parameters. There could be like number of parameters available for you in your SSRS reports. That is completely up to the requirement that we should be taking up. Okay. Now we will be discussing about data sources and data sets. So what actually are data sources? So as the name says, it is actually source of a data where I should get my data from. So that's what this particular data source is about. So for this, there are like multiple ways to create a data source. Data source, you can say. So whenever you are going and creating from this option, you will be popped up with two different data source options. That is embedded connection. Embedded in the sense it will be up to only this particular report only. So if you create any embedded connection within the particular report, test report.odl, that connection will be active or can be used only within this test report. Out of the test report, we cannot use that connection at any cost. So for now, I'd like to show you one of the way creating shared data source. So that's why you go and click on this. Okay, here you can see there's two options, add new shared data source. Here my data source name is, I would go with the same Pract database, we can say, just to show Pract DB, Pract database. Okay, we can say Pract database. And what is this type of it? It is actually a OLEDB connection, okay, or Microsoft SQL Server. When you are dealing with SSIS packages, you will be noticing OLEDB connections whenever OLEDB source and destinations whenever we are creating a new package. So here it is a Microsoft SQL Server. So here you need to give connection string in order to give proper way to connect it. So for that we can go on build, and what is the server name that is available for us. So let's see what we have, or we can just go on search here only. So this is my server name. Let me cancel it and just paste it up here. What is authentication type that I should be using? Is that this is up to you. If you have any SQL user being created for you, you should be going through SQL Server authentication mode only. If you are not having SQL Server user ID and password, you will be going with Windows authentication, just how you will be logging into this particular window, SSMS Windows. Okay, for that again, Windows authentication I'm gonna use. So here are my database tables that are available for me. For now, I'm defining this particular connection only for the Prac database. So for that, I will be selecting Prac database. And let me test my connection once. So it says test connection succeeded and we are good to go here. So click on OK. This gives me like what is my data source? Data source in the sense the server name here in the connection string and the initial catalog in the sense the database name that we are using. Okay, are we clear here? And the present credentials, how you want to use this. So that is again completely a Windows authentication. And just click on OK. This now has created one shared data source, which is RDS type, Pratt DB RDS. So let me rename with it to Pratt DB without any spaces. That leaves me out with no confusions. Okay. So here the RDL will be report file. The RDS will be shared data source. Okay. And now coming back to this data source within our report, see whenever you created a particular shared resource, it will be out of your reports folder. See, it is not there in any of your reports folder. It is directly there in shared data sources folder, by which I mean to say that this particular prackdb.rds will be available for any of the number of reports that you create in this reports folder. Okay, for now, my shared data source is available for all the reports as well. And now let's go on create one data source. So what I should be creating? So I would say data source, just the name, our data source. And I would go with use shared data source reference. That means this particular data source that I'm creating now will be taken with the existing PrackDB data source. It's a shared data source. So when I'm creating a new data source for every report, see for this test report, I'm creating one data source that is again with a shared data source reference. That means when we have a shared data source, we don't need to create a new ones. So in order to save complexity and the memory and the processing time, and just click on OK, you now have your data source being created for you. So if you want to create a new one, only for this particular report, it is like you don't want any other reports or any other persons to use yours. So that time you could use this embedded data connection. That's again with any of your types. So for now, I would go with MS SQL Server. And same way for connection string, you will be using this. So for this server name, I have this copied. And the database name, I would like to use AdventureWorks here. So this is an embedded data source. Let's test the connection. Test connection succeeded, and we don't need to see any other things. Let's click on OK. And here, click on OK. So it is now have two data source. One is, so let's change the names. Shared data source of PrackDB. This is a data source of AdventureWorks DB. Okay. If you can notice in here, the shared data source has something like its icon is little different in this. In the data source, it is just one bin here. Okay, now I've created shared data source and the embedded data source as well. So embedded data source will be available only for this particular report. But the shared data source, in the other hand, it will be available for all the reports that are available in this particular project. So this is how we create a data source. Data source is nothing in our overview, in a summary. It is a connection. When you say you noticed something in SSIS saying connection manager, you will be creating connections and giving them as into any of the tasks. Same way here we have data sources. Data sources is nothing but just the connection where we should get the data from. And how about this data sets? So this is the one which holds your actual data. So this is the source from where we will be getting our data, and data sets is the one where we actually catch or hold our data while execution. Okay, for that, again, we come up to this window. Which is again to have a name and stuff. So I would like to go with shared dataset for now. So for this data set and PragDB, so I'll just mention P here, or use the Prag. Use shared dataset, and let's go with fields. Or let's see. Okay, here we got this one clear, and what you actually want to get through, what the data you want in, you want to like hold into this particular data set, which for which I'm using PragDB dataset. So for this, I would like to get all the details from this table. So select star from. So let me copy this one and just paste it in the query window, which is here. And click on here. You will notice like all the fields unable to connect PragDB. Okay, why so? If you are not available, I'll be going with AdventureWorks. And in the AdventureWorks again, I'd like to see some database table. So we have something called person.address, I guess. This is in the database AdventureWorks. Okay, here we go. Click on OK. Unable to connect to data source AWVD. That is all because integrated security credentials for the connection string for the data source, but the data source configured to be of a different credential type. To use the values in the connection string, you must configure unattend the report processing. Okay, let's do that. Credentials, integrated security. We did not check this one. Complete. This one again, credentials. Go to this. Click on OK. So we have everything available now. See here. Whatever all the columns that are available in my that particular query, So output of this particular query, whatever the columns that are now available to see this in here. So if I just click on OK, what actually does is that it creates a data set completely. See here, we got this. And for now, let me delete this. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Anyhow, okay. In the basic report, so we now created the data sets and the data sources and the parameters as well. And we saw how to create a shared data source as well. So you can also create a shared data set, that is same way here, just add new data set. Same thing. So for now, we'll see just a basic report, which actually creates or gets the data from the table. For that, let me see here. You will find this report toolbox in this here. This is a SSIS toolbox. We will be using that in SSI projects only. This toolbox is SSRS toolbox. So here you have like all the items that are available for you. What is the kind of like report that you will be using? This is pretty much all about the SSRS. So if we have like discussed all of this, we are good with SSRS. So let's go with table or matrix. So with this, it says like what is the header and the data. So for this, I say address ID and just click on this little icon here. It will show all the available columns. Just go on adding it. Let me insert column and more again. Okay, now I've given address line 1 and I would go with address line 2 and city as well, and the state province ID, postal code. Let me add few more columns. Postal code is done. Spatial location, followed by row GUID, followed by the modified date. So this is way. This is just a basic report which actually gets all the data from your database. Let's preview it. What we get it. So here there are just two dummy parameters. Just select and just say view report. See here. Let me zoom out to 75. So this is the basic report that we got from the database. Okay, are we clear so far? So what I did, I just created a basic database, SSRS report from one of our address tables in the database. So here we have like discussed pretty much all basic things and how do we create a report. And are we clear so far? I guess yes. And this is it for today's session. And